Well, this is the most recent pen I got on eBay, and I referred to it as the pen that Jack Webb would like because it has a matter-of-fact, firm, only slightly flexible if you apply lots of pressure. When you give the pen the third degree, then it'll be slightly flexible. But it's generally the kind of nib that if I were to buy it or try it out at a pen show, I would say something nice about it to the owner and tell the owner that I'll come back. I'm just going to look around. Of course, in my mind, I'll completely dismiss it and never go back. But I bought this one on eBay and I'm stuck with it. So rather than hating it, I'm going to try to figure out what I can do with it. Right? Rather than just complain, rather than loving it or leaving it, I'm just going to learn to love it. So, what can this do? Well, I'm going to draw some fish with it. I'm using Benjamin Moore paint chips. This color is called, okay, what is it called? I don't see a name of this. Most of the time they have names like Burnt Toast, Summer Mist. See, this is Summer Mist. This one is just H2O. Oh, it's also, you can see H2O in all the other languages. Here's Cascade, Katarta, and Cascade. This is H2O. Bite me. So I'm drawing a fish in water. Okay, so this is very, very smooth, silk-screened paper, essentially, is what it is. I think there's ink or paint or something that's silk-screened on the paper. And what I'm doing is drawing fish for display. This is sort of an angry fish, like an angry bird. This is the Jack Webb fish. And then I take water. This is filled with water. And I smush it around. Ink is Waterman ink that is not waterproof. So it allows me to put water over the top of it, and it gets blurry and stuff. And so that was with this pen that I don't like. Right? Have I learned to like it yet? Let's do another one, and then I'll show you what. Here's one, H2O. Let's do the Cascade. No. Frozen Canal. This is Frozen Canal. So we'll do another. Okay, Frozen Canal, cracked ice. I'll make this one sort of. This is a fish that's inspired by cracked ice. As you can see, there's very little variation, and even though I'm applying lots of pressure at the beginning of each of these strokes. Now I'm flipping it upside down, and I'll get a thinner line. This pen really... There's also something else a little bit weird about this pen, which I think I could fix. The section seems a little loosey-goosey in its little... in the barrel. And consequently, it's like a loose tooth. There's a... Oh, I guess that's a line. I thought it was a piece of hair or something. Yeah, this pen is... I'm not learning to love it. I wanted to do that. That was my plan. To figure out a way to make this pen make me learn to draw with it correctly. But it hasn't done it yet. This is hardly... That's supposed to be the eyeball. There we go. Oops. I really don't quite know. This fish is one of those weird fishes that existed because evolution had some sort of... was playing a joke that day. But you see, this looks like teeth, and this looks like teeth, and that sort of looks like teeth, so maybe this fish is meant to look like a bunch of piranha at their barbecue, at their banquet. So that's what I'm going to say that it is. Kind of fun. This pen can't take credit for all of these little dots I'm making. It's more the fact that I'm drawing on this very slick paper. Frozen Canal. Okay, we'll try another one. This is called Summer Mist. Okay, most of my fish, the head is on this end, so I'm going to keep that going. Okay, Jack Webb. Just the facts, ma'am. Well, the fish... Oh, I get so flustered when I'm in the police department. The fish... I think the fish was wearing brown pants. No, darling, it wasn't brown pants, the husband says. Well, I think he was. Ma'am, sir, the fish was wearing brown pants and had suspenders. No, he was wearing a belt. Sir, that's what happens when you've got a couple that can't agree on anything to give a witness statement to the police. Like they're going to change their attitude now after they've seen a murder or a robbery. Just because they've seen that, they're going to suddenly agree with each other? No, they're going to continue to fight. The fish was wearing brown pants. Whatever you say, dear, he finally acquiesces, even though he knows damn well the fish had no such item of clothing. So when I'm done with this one, I'm going to do a drawing with a Waterman pen that has the same ink in it. Draw the same kind of thing, another fish, but it's going to be drawn with a nib that actually has some life to it. This, I don't dislike the Johnny one-note nibs. They're perfectly fine sometimes. On a Parker 51, they somehow seem to be fine for that. If this was a 51 nib, I'd hate it, by the way, because I think it's also that it's broader than I like my nibs to be. So, is that what the thief looked like, ma'am? Yes, just like it. Your police artist is amazing. Sir, whatever she says. Okay. Pick another thing. What is this called? Cascade. Okay, here's a Waterman. And this has a nib that is the same blue ink as this one, except the fine is really fine, but it also has the ability to do that kind of stuff. So it's much more, in my mind, it's much more fun to write with or to draw with. But I'm not giving up on Joe Friday quite yet. There has to be a drawing or a word that pen can write or draw better than this one. Maybe it's a I don't know, what would it be? What would that word be? Maybe it would be for pressing down really hard to make a carbon copy at the precinct. Maybe that's what it's for. This is one of those fish that has all sorts of, they're like whiskers that come out of its head. Kind of fun. And what's all this business that I did? I wasn't thinking when I did that stuff. What kind of fish is this? Why did I do that? I didn't need to do that. That's the eye. Okay. Let's go back to the Sgt Joe Friday fish, pen, nib. Again, what can I do with it? I'm trying to pretend it's the Waterman I was just using. It doesn't want to do anything other than that. So it doesn't want me to draw like I'm drawing. It wants me to draw like this. It wants me to make little straight lines like this. Joe Friday wants straight lines. That's all he wants. There can't be none of this frou-frou stuff for Joe Friday. Straight lines, straight facts, facts, facts. None of this calligraphic nonsense. So if I had to draw say I had to draw a fish that was made of Tinker Toys. No, not Tinker. Yes, Tinker Toys. Straight lines. Legos. Now this would be the pen I'd want. Now the reason that it's beating up there is because I was putting my hand there, and the oils on my hand are making making the ink not want to blend in. So I'm just going to use look at Sgt. Joe Friday is turning over in his grave when he sees me use my fingerprints to ruin his beautiful drawing. The reason I'm doing this is I was just curious. Some of this paper I'm using, it does bead up, and some of it doesn't. So I don't know if it's different silk screen things or what. I was having this problem when I was drawing the Longfellow house the other day. The drawings were doing this, essentially beading up. Nothing was staying. And I just let them dry like that because it was fine, you know. That's the way it goes. And yet, this piece of paper, what color is this? Early morning. Okay, Joe, back to you, Joe Friday. What is this? Okay, we know we have to make straight lines. Yeah, the little loosey-goosiness of the section is another thing that's bothering me. I just told you it's bothering me. Well, it's still bothering me. It's bothering me more than it did before. This fish is made of an erector set. Little rivets, screws holding it together. Okay, how do I fix it with this? Am I going to fix it? This is going to be a harlequin. This is going to be painted like the razzle-dazzle battleships of World War I. The German submarines won't know what to do with this thing. Herr Kapitän, jawohl. Der ist eine Fisch. Ja. Mit der Dazzle Scheiß. I don't know. What's razzle dazzle painting? Mit razzle dazzle Kunst gemacht an dieses Fisch. I drew the other day a naked man. Yeah. Someone has got to do it. A naked man who was sitting in a chair, and the light was coming through the chair. The chair was one of those modern sort of wickery wire net baskety things you sit in, and his body was covered in lines that looked like this, razzle-dazzle painting. And he and the other artist had never heard of dazzle painting before, so I had to show them what that was. And what razzle painting, it wasn't supposed to hide the fact that this was a boat. I mean, it was clear it was a boat. It might even have been easier to see that it was a boat, not an abstract cubist painting. Mein Kapitän, der ist eine Kunst von Brock on the horizon. No, they would just say, there's a ship on the horizon. Of course, the captain would look through his little periscopy thingy, And he would say, ja, das ist richtig. And then he would try to figure out with his little compass and his map and his protractor and whatever it is they have, his sauerkraut, whatever the Germans have on those submarines, he would try to figure out the course that the boat was on. And because this boat was so painted with all these little zigzags and stripes and stuff, it was hard for das Kapitan to get a bearing on exactly what the boat was doing. So consequently, he would fire his torpedoes and they would miss, or that was the hope. I'm back to the Waterman again. Whether it worked or not is probably doubtful overall, because by World War II, they were using different camouflage on their boats. They gave up on this one looks like Harpo Marx. If Harpo Marx was a fish, this is what he'd look like. Where's his horn? Here's his little horn. And strings of his harp. Now, there was just something about the curly hair here that made me think of Harpo. Now, what I'm doing here is, on this particular one, because of the way I made the lines, I'm also making the paintbrush sort of do the same thing. I'm a little sloppy. I'm not necessarily staying within the lines like I was doing on the one I just showed you. So one of my neighbors just posted on our Facebook page that he had a iPad for free, and I was not the first person to see it. So unfortunately, I may not get it. Now, why do I need more than one iPad? You're asking? Well, I don't know if I have a dozen iPads, but I have nearly that many. And what I do with them is I draw on and create things on a couple of them, but the other ones I use for display. I create art on them, and rather than printing these things, I end up just essentially framing an iPad in a frame. And then you see you see the thing that I created on the thing I created it on. Does that make sense? And so the color is luminous color and stuff. And I often have more than one iPad in a single frame. And so I find them, especially if they're free, I find them of value, even though I might not use them but for a couple of times a year. I might use them enough. During Open Studios a few years ago, I had the display in my hall showed my iPads as part of the display, and I had, I think, 6 iPads running. One was showing little movies I make, one was showing how I do things for clients. Another one was showing sketches that I make on it. So it's not like I'm not hoarding them. You might think I'm hoarding them, but I'm not hoarding them. But also, I have given away 3 or 4 of them to friends of mine also, who there's one app I really, really like, and if there's an artist friend that I think would really enjoy making art with that particular app, I'll make them a gift of one of my iPads. And I said, the iPad doesn't have anything really on it except for this one thing, this one tool, and this one app. Well, this doesn't really look like a fish, but what the heck, it's a fish. One more jack web. Angular fish. Now this is a pen that it's easy to dismiss. There's really, it just wants to make a straight line that has no variation to it. That's what it wants. So I need to figure out a way to do a drawing using that kind of a nib. I don't know what kind of drawing that would be. It's not that one, that's for sure. Bye.